How do we get our partners on the same page with our finances? Now, this is a really difficult one, and from the very top, I'm just going to say I am not an expert in this. However, I am in a longer-term relationship and plan to be in that for a long time. And I'll share some insights from my own experience and journey. But I think the first thing we have to do is acknowledge that when we enter a relationship, whether it be with a business partner, whether it be on a venture, whether it be working together in a community group, it's bringing together of different people, right? And then, of course, our own intimate relationships or finding our life partner, that sort of thing. We're bringing our own beliefs around money, how we've done things, systems, processes, upbringings, all of those sorts of things. We're bringing ours and then they're bringing theirs. And all of a sudden, we just think that we're going to be like, perfect. Now we've got, it's sweet. But of course, it's going to be like, well, why are you doing it that way? Well, because I've always done it that way. What do you mean? And I'll give you a funny example in my household that I often joke about with my partner, is that just about every grocery run, she will get a tube of toothpaste and order it. And mine probably lasts like 3 weeks. And I'm like to her, yo, what are you doing? And I ask for her dregs, is that the word? And I'll have the leftovers. I'm like, yo, there's heaps left in there. And she's like, it's empty. I'm like, that ain't empty, man. And how I grew up was you got to get every last little bit out of the tea sauce, out of the bloody can, out of, scrape the inside, the icing bowl, out of the toothpaste. Cut that tube in half, baby, and get a little bit extra out. Do it with the Japanese mayo, still do it. So my old habits die hard because that was just normal for me. Now my partner, she is like, well, it's annoying. You can barely get it out. I don't want to scrape all the toothpaste through to the top. It's going in the bin. I'm like, whoa, no, hand that over here. And so I'm like to her, you've grown up with a bit more than me, therefore, you don't really have to do that. She's like, what? No, that's not it. And I'm like, oh, shit. I've just created a situation, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's kind of how I see it. She's like, no, that's not how I see it. It's just annoying. And I'm like, well, no, I reckon it's because, and so then we end up in this argument of like, so you're saying that I've grown up with more and my life's easy and stuff. I'm like, oh, whoa, man. Okay, just give me the toothpaste, man. Like, it's cool. So, you will have these situations where how you see something is not how your partner sees it, but your partner will then try and tell you how they see it, or they might defend, what you're saying. And then you've got to try and find that common ground and be like, okay, let's hear each other here and just try and understand where we are both coming from. And sometimes often, when I argue with my partner or fight with my partner, let's use that word, I'll say like, hey, can we just bring it down a notch? Like, let's solve this together. Let's hear each other. We're a team, right? Like, this is a partnership. Why are we getting angry about something? We've just come from different, ways of thinking about this, beliefs, upbringings, or whatever, whenever we get into that situation. And sometimes it's hard to do that in the heat of the moment. But what my partner and I have done is really tried to explore, each other's thoughts around money, beliefs, risk tolerance and things, and then just notice them and then have more and more conversations around them. So as another example, I said to her, well, she brought shares purely because someone she knew brought those shares. And I'm like, do you think that's a good idea? Is that a good way to buy shares? And she's like, well, I don't want them to make money and I miss out. I'm like, that's the fear of missing out. What are we doing here? Did you actually want to own those shares? Like, oh, no, not really. Fast forward, and they're probably gone down anyway. But we have those conversations all the time. So we make talking about money very, very normal. And I know that a lot of people will be like, well, that just isn't how it is in my household. I am an accountant, so I talk about money every day with my clients, and I've studied it since I was 16, 17. So I'm 2 decades in. So of course, money is very transactional to me, not emotional. And that's another thing we all have to remember, is that for a lot of people, money is very emotional. They might have seen something in their life early on with their family, or they might have grown up with things like, rich people are assholes, or, why do the people down the street, why do they get to go on holiday? They stand on everyone, they price gouge, they rip everyone up, whatever, this negative stuff. And then we're like, oh man, that's how we grow up seeing the world. And it's probably an emotional response that we're grabbing onto that we've seen in our life as well. But sometimes you have to just stop with all those sorts of things and be like, why is this triggering me emotionally? And then if you can tone your own sort of conversation with money to how it's more fruitful or serving you or looking after you, then you can have better conversations with your partner. Because you're going to have those combos where, I heard one yesterday between a couple, the wife is like, let's clear the mortgage and get it done faster. The husband's like, nah, man, we're going to invest that money and that's going to turn into more and we're going to be able to pay the mortgage faster anyway. The wife is like, I just want less debt and I don't want to be paying as much interest. The husband's like, no, you're wrong. We're going to make more money on this and then we're going to be able to clear it. All good and well until the stocks go down, right? The paying off the debt is a guaranteed return, but only hindsight actually answers who is right. So that's where we have to stop and be like, okay, like you tell me logically how this is going to play out, or like when would we take that money out? Can we find a compromise here? How would we both come to an agreement where we're both, happy with the outcome or comfortable so that we're not resenting each other? You said to keep investing and it's crashed. What the hell? I knew we should have paid it off. Boom, we're back like that, right? Oh, I didn't know that they were going to go down. Hindsight is great, but it can also carve us up. Now that brings me to something else. You can have those conversations more clearly if you both know where you're going and if you both know what your goals are. So when was the last time with your partner you said like, hey, where are we going financially? What are we aiming towards? And how are we going about that? Now, for some of you, you'd be like, well, my partner just won't even speak around finances. Well, that's tough. You've got to find a way to introduce those conversations. It could be around sending them a podcast that you found really interesting and say, hey, this was really meaningful to me and really got me thinking. I'd love for you to listen to it and we could have a chat tonight. It could be playing the podcast, for instance, in the car with them at the same time, or just exploring things that you notice when they're with their family or the way they talk about money. Oh, we never have enough. Hey, like, what do you mean we never have enough? I feel like we've got quite a bit. What does that mean for you? Oh, and then you're bringing these conversations. You've got to try and stay like real calm and transactional. But the more we talk about this stuff and make it normal, it gets easier. And there's a good saying that I was researching the other day, and it's, we don't have money problems. We all have psychological problems. And once you hear that, you can't unhear that, and that will fuck you up thinking about it. None of us have money problems, but we say we do. We all say we do. No, we have psychological problems. Then it becomes an us problem. It goes back to up here. So same thing in our relationships. I don't think we have problems around money. We have problems around the way that we both view it in a relationship, and then we're not bridging the gap to figure out how that works. And if you're going to enter into relationships where money is a part of that, which just about is in every relationship, you got to do work yourself too to figure out, okay, where are you going, so that you can then explain your views more clearly as well, and give the other person the data. Even a coach to me, around my business partner relationship, he's like, just give your business partner the data. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's smart. And so like, over the years, if there's risky things that I want to do in our business, I'm like, hey, mate, I think we should do this. I think this is going to happen. And my business partner will be like, whoa, okay, well, that's a lot of risk and stuff. Or, he might be thinking about it different to me. And I'm like, here's how I've de-risked it in my head. Like, what do you think of that? Oh, I suppose when you put it like that. And then I'll see like things that he's doing as well and think like, oh, I'm like, hey, how are you making sense of that? And so it's something for all of us to consider when we're building relationships, when we're in relationships and with money. But the crux of this, to keep this under 10 minutes, is that you really need to get on the same page anyway to know where you're going. But firstly, you need to have some thoughts around your own goals and where you think you could go as a family and where you could see yourself going if that's what you're going to do. It could be that you're going to have a child. So then, okay, what's our plan around financially sorting that? And actually having some of those conversations. What's your plan for retirement? What's your plan for retirement as a team? Could you retire earlier? Like, make it fun, make it exciting. Hey, let's have a think about and brainstorm some exciting financial goals. And don't make it negative, make it positive and abundant. And hey, how can we speed that? This mortgage is 30 years. Do we want to pay this off for 30 years? Nah. Okay, let's build a plan, Let's see if we can get it down to 20. What will we have to do that? Let's start with a mortgage calculator and let's figure out what extra repayments we need. How the hell are we going to do that? Okay, we don't have to know right now, but why don't we go on a journey of figuring it out? What would it mean to us if we shave 10 years off of our mortgage? Now you're having fun conversations, powerful conversations, exciting conversations. You're creating, a list of this and you're like, yeah, we're a team, fuck this 30 years. Let's get it down to 20. Let's go. Yeah, we got to tell the kids, Christmas is going to be a little bit different this year. We're going to make some sacrifices, but let's have this conversation as a couple, as a relationship, as a team. We're heading in the same direction and we're making this happen. So anyway, I don't want to keep going with this one because it is a big topic and I don't have all the answers, but those are just some things that I've noticed. But I think it definitely takes work individually, and then we need more goals and plans, or just visions for our future as a couple. We want to be thinking around, what's like holding us back internally, where's our thinking coming from, and often you'll find like most people's beliefs around money come back to their upbringing. So help them unpack that, okay, like why did your mum think that all rich people were assholes? And is that like, do we want to teach the kids that? Is that going to help us? And have some of those conversations and just challenge things. And if you challenge them, then you can look down on them and be like, yo, what is that all about? And it becomes a lot more fun. And then try and find some exciting things to work on together so that you know that you're aiming forward. My partner and I often, like as an example, we save towards a holiday fund, but we don't know where we're going. And then all of a sudden we're like, right, it's time for a holiday. And then we get to have the fun of like, where are we going to go? And boom, we've got the money there. We don't need to go and get finance or anything like that. Or like, we deserve a holiday. It's been so tough lately. Let's tick it up. No, we're saving together for a goal that we know we'll have in the future, and then we get to make it happen without debt when that happens. So again, some examples in there. I hope it gets you thinking. I could keep talking on this for ages, but I said I'd stop. So I'd love to know from you down there in the comments, what are you doing, or what's helped you, or what do you struggle with when it comes to your partner? And, you might have to keep it anonymous, but I mean, a lot of you on YouTube use, I think it's called pseudonyms or something, like fake names or something anyway. But anyway, love to hear from you. Let's see.